Well, I'm not starting off on a good foot in 2020. I can't even think of what to say. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel, thank you for stopping by. If you're returning, I'm excited for that also. Hey, I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hope you got everything you wanted and everybody was safe and nobody got hurt. That's all that matters. So anyway, this is my first video for 2020, and I'm going to lead it off with one of you as a subscriber asked me what the difference is between a Z28 and an IROC-Z. And we'll use Scarlet there as a example. Basically, the Z28 and IROC-Z were identical. The difference on the IROC-Z was basically a trim package. The IROC-Z's in 87. Now, this is going to have the wrong wheels on it. Those wheels are off of an 88. This is an 87 car, but the IROC-Z had the name on the side door. You still had the insignia down there in the corner that says Z28, and this one was a tune port. Here, I'll show you on this other 87 here. These are 87 specific wheels. Don't mind the grass growing up, but those were 87 specific wheels, and you got a stripe package with that stripe right above the ground effect and the door decal. Those are 16-inch wheels. The Z28s were just 15s. The back emblem, the Z28, but usually if it had a tune port, it would also say tune port injection there on the bottom. If it had a 350, it would say 5.7 liter tune port injection. This one, the emblem's already been taken off down there on the rocker. So, but you can see on this one, it's still there. It says IROC-Z. Now this one's been repainted once before, so the stripe package, they didn't put it back on, which is kind of typical. Usually they'll take it off and they won't put it back on. But anyway, we'll show you here. I'll pull it up on the screen there so you can see it. It's basically an option package, and it tells you what it comes with over the top of the Z28. Other than that, the cars are identical. Like I said, the difference is the wheels and a trim package. That's about it. I'll have to break it down and get you the options and what all it was. But the Z28 and the IROC, you could both get the tune port injection in. 87 was the first year that was available with a 350. The 350, most of the time, and I don't think you couldn't get a 5-speed behind the 350. Period. They wouldn't do it. They apparently that whopping 330 foot-pounds of torque was enough to tear up a T5. Either that or they knew it'd get abused, so they didn't do it any higher anyway. But at any rate, like I said, most of the time the IROC-Z was just basically a trim package over the Z28 and better wheels. Had the same sway bars front and rear, same brakes. Now there was a difference if it had a 1LE package. The 1LE package had bigger front brakes, and if I remember right, it had it was an AC delete because it was made for more of a race car, supposedly. All right. Well, I mean, I guess I don't have to have this minimized if it's recording. Here is, and you'll have to pardon my echoing room. We've got high ceilings and hard floors, and there's not much to dampen the sound. But anyway, here's an example of what I was talking about, the option package and what it was. This is Scarlett's window sticker. There's the part start of the VIN. This is actually the original window sticker for it. As you can see, the standard options, it had a 5-liter, the LG4 with a 5-speed manual. I wish it did have a manual in it. Steel belted radio, blah, blah, blah. Power disc, rear drum, left-hand remote, right-hand manual, blah, 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 blah. But if you look down here, it was part of the option. Of course, they tell you power steering, power hatch pull down, since it's considered a two-door Z28 Sport Coupe. That's what it actually is. I mean, it is a Z28. The IROC-Z is just an option package. You had to pay for the black custom cloth. You had to pay for the side moldings. You had to pay for the G80 limited slip. The TPI was a $745 option, and the automatic transmission was a $490 option. As part of the IROC package, you got the 245 50/16s and specific wheels. Now the IROC package, actually there was 3 different packages, and I'll show you that here in a minute. But this is package 2, so it wasn't the top of the line. And that IROC package back then, that was a lot of money, $2,409. IROC performance package, AC, tinted glass, comfort steering wheel, tilt steering wheel, carpeted floor mats, windshield, I don't know, intermittent wipers, power door locks, power windows, power hatch release, and AM/FM with seek and scan cassette tape. Woohoo! Digital clock and ERSS, and then 81U was bright red. So there's a prime example of an option package. Let me, all right, we're going to try this again. Let's do the equipment summary. Hey, look at there, it works. All right. This basically shows what you could do. Let's see if I can blow this up. There we go. Shows you what options you could go with. Why it won't let me. There we go. Standard equipment, not applicable. Extra cost. That's basically what those were. So he shows Z28 and IROC-Z. Of course, you couldn't get a V6 in it. The 5-liter 4-barrel was standard. The TPI was extra cost, and it was extra cost on an IROC-Z. All of them were, sorry about that, all of them were, had a 5-speed manual, which in here, let's see, it's got asterisks there too. So if you go down here to the bottom, it would tell you It just tells you it was a multi-port fuel injection. But we all know that you couldn't get a manual transmission with a 350. It just didn't happen. Transmission was an extra cost, the manual, or the automatic rather. Four-wheel discs were an option, so on and so forth. Let's see, they show the 5-spoke aluminum, which those were the Z rated, but if you ordered the IROC, you see they got the 5.7. You see they got the 5. I don't know why I keep wanting to say 5.7. 15x7 5-spoke, unless you had the IROC-Z, and then they were 16-inch. Basically has a stabilizer bar. All the Z28s had a 134 front and a 91 hundredths of an inch rear. The single exhaust, dual exhaust, which really wasn't dual exhaust. It was one pipe with two mufflers. So that's all I want to show you on that one. So let's go to model features. Blow it up. Okay, this one here he shows the same thing. For everything that you order on the Sport Coupe, you got everything that was in this list. And then, in addition to replacing standard Camaro equipment, you get all this. But then, if you get the IROC-Z, it came with everything included in the Z28 plus 16x8 aluminum wheels, silver, gold, the 245/50 VR16 gator backs, and different special performance ride and handling package, which basically means it had Bilstein shocks on it front and rear, and they do make a difference, believe it or not. It also came with halogen fog lamps, which that was a big deal back then, and striping that was color coded, and then the Camaro gold or silver letters on the grille. So that's basically that one. And of course the side window defoggers they show you on the dash, that was a big thing. So that's basically on that one. Let's show you the next one. Power teams. Bloop. Blow that up a little bit. Alright. Here's the ordering codes. The actual 350 tune port was a B2L, even though that we all know that the 5 liter was an LB9. But it shows you what it was available in. See, the 350 was not available in a standard, well it was, excuse me, it was available in the standard Z28, but it was an option at an extra cost. Here you go, here's what I was talking about the manual transmission. Came standard in tune port. It's not available in the 350, either transmission. And if you notice the gear ratios on those, like for instance, Scarlett's got a It's originally a 5-liter TPI car, and it had an automatic, so it's got a 273. And the option label that's in the console says it's a 273. There were some options down here also. Which is kind of interesting because I know the option label says GU2, but this one says 323 base on IROC-Z. And I know it's not a 323. I wish it was, but it's not. And then you actually got a 327 Borg Warner on the 350 IROC. But that's in 87. In 89, you could only get a 277. All right, scroll on here. Here's something that it's kind of interesting to know, and I'll show you this here in a minute. They basically wanted you to run 87 octane in it, even with the tune port. It gives you the power output of the 5-liter, both tune port and carbureted. But then it says not applicable on the 350. They never really gave a power output on the 350, which was kind of interesting. But that's basically all there is to that. So let's go to the next slide. Oh, whoops, that's not what I want to do. We're going to look at trans and rear gear specs. And this was for an 87. Blow that up a little bit. This was basically what was available. You see on this one they actually give you your power numbers: 225 horse, 330 foot-pounds of torque, and 327 supposedly was the gear ratio, with a 229 final drive. Now on Scarlet, this would be her right there. This one was a 700 R4, so it came with a 273. It did have an optional 323, but this one's 273, so the final drive is 191. So basically it'll idle going down the highway. But the tune ports made, quite a bit of power. And it shows you down here on the ring gears, all of them were 7 5/8 ring gear. The Borg Warner was a 7 3/4. The Borg Warner was quite a bit stronger. It held up a little bit better. But of course, any of them that you do a bunch of abuse at it all the time, they're gonna give you fits. So that's it on that one. Here is the preferred group that I was telling you about. Now if you remember seeing the window sticker, it had preferred group 2, which here's the Camaro IROC-Z coupe with preferred group 2. It came with all these features here. If it had 3, then it had basically a power driver's seat, it had power windows, we knew that. It had the rear compartment shade. It had a graphic equalizer on the radio and upgraded speakers, and both the mirrors were electric instead of just the left one. So I know that the 89 donor out there is this group here. It's got the highest model you can get. So we're back to the same thing and telling you what the difference is on the option packages, what the IROC difference is between IROC and Z28. And like I said, most of it is just a trim. This is something you might find interesting. In '89, apparently they changed the fuel mapping of the computer. If you look here, any of them, the tune port, they rated it for 91 octane, not 87. They were still roller lifter, 230 horse and 330 foot-pounds of torque, you know, similar to the other ones. But kind of interesting, because I don't think anybody knew that you're supposed to run premium in those. But all right, let's look at this. Is going to be sideways. Let's see if we can rotate it. Hey, there we go. All right. This basically was just something they started doing in '89 too. This was a fact thing that I found. It was a booklet, but you could actually pause this if you wanted to and read everything in it. This was one of the big things. Electronic passkey was introduced in 1989. That was the first year for the passkey theft deterrent system. And I'm going to do a video for you guys later describing how that works, what's involved in it. And you know, if you get one of them, they used them, of course, all the way up until they went to the next one, which was, you know, passkey, and then they had PK3, which is the PK3 was the new style of key where they actually had the transponder built into the key. It didn't use a resistance, because basically the passkey keys, that little pellet is a resistor, and there is 14 resistors if I remember right. But in '89 they built 111 1LE Camaros, which if you find in 1LE Camaro, that's pretty rare. They were pretty cool, and they'll bring quite a good money. You can read that. There's a page 2 to that, and I'll rotate that one. Kind of hard to read sideways. This basically tells you how many were ordered with what option. Like, well, it doesn't say the B2L. That's on the other page. But LB9, the engine, they ordered there. They made 8,925 of them, and then it tells you how many IROCs and with what group, how many were ordered, or how many were made. And they did have the convertible in '89 also. Here's your colors down here. Exterior colors, they had bright blue. Of course, bright red was the most popular color, 26,509. So, again, you guys can pause this and look it over if it's something you want to read on. A lot of good information. I think that's going to be all I've got for you. I'll show you this one last one here. This is basically, this will tell you what the weight of the car was. That's the only reason why I saved this. Sport Coupe versus LT Z28 and IROC. The IROC was 3,254 pounds. That's the curb weight. But it tells you basically dimensions, wheelbase, 101 inches, 192 inches overall. You know, I bet the only difference between the 192 and the 188 is that bottom chin spoiler that the IROCs use on the front, IROCs and the Z28s. That's probably the only difference that it makes, is the nose is a little bit different. So there you have it. I hope the information that I got you today answered your questions. There's a lot of stuff. 2020 is going to be a good year. You guys have been so helpful to me, and I appreciate everybody that's subscribed. Make sure to like and share this video, share any of the videos, so I can help grow the channel some more. I really do appreciate it, and I do read the comments, so if you got something, you know, I'll answer it. And I do take your suggestions in part. Also, I had a lot of great choices for colors and names for the unnamed acquisition, I guess you could call it. And after doing some thought with it, I think that we're gonna go probably the gunmetal gray, or you know, there used to be a color back in '89, they called it storm gray metallic, and it was a really cool color. I mean, it would look black as black at night, but you get it in the sunlight and it actually was like a dark charcoal. Man, it looked good. And it'll go with just about any color interior. But I think that's the choice. We're going to go with it. I think it's a good one. And the name choice for that obviously was Gunsmoke. Subscriber, you'll know who the subscriber is if you read the deals. But it was a good choice, and it just one that kind of set with me. The only other choice that I had that I thought it might have looked good, and you'll have to leave me a comment below, let me know what you think. But I was thinking either the new Corvette yellow. That was always, I thought that's a sharp color, and I thought it would look good on the car. But that and the Corvette yellow with probably the red brake calipers. Oh, I'm giving it away. Anyway, thanks again, y'all. I appreciate all your help. Like I said, make sure and hit that like button, subscribe, share the video, tell your friends about it, help get the word out. Like I said, 2020 is going to be a good year. So, till next time, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.